Turn on that radio and back here. The cops ain't likely to catch up with us, not tonight. So we can all be quiet and peaceable and listen to the music.
All right, we're live. It's Auto Dealer Live Day. Beyond the Blacktop, I'm Dave Villa.
I'm Dave Cribbs.
And we're here Thursday, October 15th. And I want to thank you guys for joining us. It's been what an eventful day, an amazing day, and it's going to be an amazing show, Dave.
Yeah, it's going to be a great show, Dave. I'm having a little mic trouble.
I can hear you.
All right.
It's going to be an amazing day, you said?
Yeah, it's going to be an amazing day. I mean, it gets personal. Beyond the Blacktop, it gets personal today. We're going to take a look into the lives of some people that we know in the auto industry and hear some of the personal stories.
Yeah, it's going to be great. You don't want to miss today's show. We try to bring automotive content, relevant content, always to help further this business that we love, this industry that we serve. And I love that word. We use that word a lot. You know, we serve this industry, and, you know, that's a great word to use, man, the word serve, because you can't go wrong. You know, I often say, and I think it's important to make note of, you know, we always chase, you know, money, we chase success, and I think we need to reverse that role. I think you need to understand a principle. You know, in 2014, which is the latest full year that we've had, right?
Yes.
The latest full year. I mean, we're not finished with 2015 yet. You know, me personally, I made more money in 2014 than any other year. So that's a good thing, you know, if you're going forward. However, a principle I've learned is money will find you if you serve others. Because here's the gist of what this means. I mean, because look, we're trying to sell more cars. We're trying to do more business. We're trying to make things happen. But when you use the word serve, and you really come down, Dave, to how can I serve somebody? You know, money will chase you down from behind. It will tackle you and sit on top of you. And success will do the same thing, because everything that you and I want to see accomplished in our lives, you know, happen through people. You know, everything that somebody, my pastor of the church that I go to, you know, I mean, you know, he wants to succeed and really touch the city. Guess what? It takes people. So it's all about service. So we serve this industry. We're proud to serve this industry. Hashtags that are out there: CarStrong, you know, AutoFam, you know, Auto Dealer Live, things like that. And you know what? We really honestly love this industry. And today, Dave, this show is going to be about individuals. Many you know, maybe a couple that you haven't seen before, but they're all professional automotive industry people, and they're going to be talking about struggles and adversity. And they're going to talk about how they made it through, how they're making it through, and really how the car business, you know, is something that's near and dear to their heart even more today than maybe it ever was.
Yeah, and I think we're going to hear at the end of the show, we're going to hear what's really been taking place literally today. And prime examples of car people showing up for other car people. You know, there's something special. Let's just face it. There's something special about the people that are in the car industries. It's something that we share in common that really we can only understand all the dynamics of if you're in this world. So I don't know, it's just really cool to me what's been taking place today. I can't wait to hear some of the details of the stories that we'll hear today as we get personal beyond the blacktop.
Yeah, absolutely. If you're joining us today, listen on Twitter. Hashtag is Auto Dealer Live. Do us a favor, if you would. Make sure that you tweet out, copy some folks that maybe normally don't watch the show if they're in the auto business. Again, it's not about us today. We would appreciate the audience, but really it's about the individuals that are coming on to talk about this. And it's about the many, many individuals that are out there whose stories we don't know. We would love nothing more than go and be able to, just like anything else, BDC Boardroom, Women to Rock Auto, we'd love nothing more than have at least once a quarter Beyond the Blacktop. We'd like to hear your story. If you have a story and you think that your story will help inspire others in the car business, then Beyond the Blacktop's for you. Get on Twitter, share this with somebody, get on Facebook, get on social media, pick up the phone, text somebody, email, whatever you got to do, and say, hey, check this show out today. I promise you, you're going to laugh, you're going to cry, you're going to be encouraged, you're going to be inspired, and you know what? All of us can relate. Not only are we in the car business, but we're human beings, and this show is going to be off the chain, Beyond the Blacktop. You don't want to miss it, and it's coming right now. Hey, really quick, Dave, Alan Ram is with us here. Alan's joined us for just a second. Alan, you have a quick announcement, man. We want to welcome you. Hey, really quick, Alan, what you got to say, brother?
Hello, everyone. Alan Ram here. It was great seeing you all. Well, not all of you, but a lot of you at Digital Dealer in Las Vegas this past week. The 3 winners have been selected for the Management by Fire event in Scottsdale, Arizona, January of 2016. So the 3 names I'm about to announce have each won 1 seat to that event. Skylar Evans, Todd Crabtree, and Brad Sperber. We will see you in Scottsdale in January. Thanks, everyone.
Hey, and we're back. Thank you, Alan, and congratulations to those winners.
Absolutely. It's
great
to
see you. Great to see you in Vegas, Alan.
Saw the shot of a full Management by Firehouse just a little bit ago, too, so great job, Alan. Thanks for joining us.
Awesome.
Are you ready for today's show, Dave?
I'm ready. I'm ready to jump in.
Yeah, you don't want to go anywhere. Listen, we want to thank our incredible sponsors again. We're going to go run to a commercial break, and then we want nonstop really action, nonstop ability for these individuals to share their story. We have 5 guests on today, so it's going to be 10 minutes per, and we're really going to bring them on. Try our best to really bring you as much of their story, as much inspiration. And I think this show is going to probably be my favorite of all time, and we're going to try our best to keep, to really keep this on track and get you out of here on time. But really quick, before we go to these guests, Dave, our sponsors are incredible, and we got a chance to sit with a lot of them last week at Digital Dealer. And check this out, and we'll be right back with the next up.
He's trying to save the advertising world. He did it. He did it for your business. He is Pineapple Advertising.
Dealers, it's no secret that in this economy, cash is king. From the smallest independent lots to the largest franchise dealers, our businesses are driven by available capital. And having more access to your back-end reserve could prove to be a game changer. You see, until now, a dealer, for example, who wrote $1 million in premium the first year, because of the way our contracts earn out, would be able to access about $70,000 at the end of the first year, and about $250,000 in the second year. You see, a dealer could see his reserve increase by $1 million a year and yet only tap into a very small percentage of that. Look, don't let that be your story. With accelerated profit accessibility, the new reinsurance model is making huge leaps and helping dealers with their biggest reinsurance frustrations: limited access and poor investment income on reserve. So what could that mean for you? Well, if your loss ratio is estimated at 40% after the first year, under the new reinsurance model, it would mean that you would have access to $600,000 as opposed to $70,000. And in the second year, $1.2 million as opposed to $250,000. Look, times are changing, even for reinsurance. It may be time to take a closer look at your dealer-owned reinsurance company. You can do that today by going to DealerRe.com or call DealerRe at 804-824-9533.
Jason Rice from Lot Pop, and let me tell you what we do to help dealerships increase used car sales 20 to 30% in gross in volume. 3 areas we focus on: trend reports. We look at weekly trends that no one else is trending to make adjustments on our inventory. 2 is we do weekly review calls to review those trends, but also we dig through every car that needs to be price adjusted to increase the searches. And 3, we do a virtual lot walk, make sure every car is standing tall in line, and make sure we don't have bad photos like these. Check out our website, lotpop.com, our blog at automotiverevolution.com, and our weekly video tips at increaseturn.com. Thanks.
Hello, I'm Alan Ram, president and founder of Alan Ram's Proactive Training Solutions. Let's face it, good managers are defined not by what they do when they have a showroom full of customers, but more by what they do when there are no customers in the showroom. In 2015, whether you like it or not, the car business is all about conversion of opportunities and driving traffic. All those great closers and desk people are not doing you a whole lot of good if your dealership is not converting effectively on the telephone and internet. As an owner or dealer, when you see 5 salespeople standing by the front door doing nothing, don't kid yourself. Your dealership is not being effectively managed. Management by Fire is a 2.5-day intensive course conducted entirely by me that teaches managers how to effectively manage in today's automotive industry. Simple processes for driving high-quality traffic. For more information on upcoming events, please call my team at 866-996-4665. Once again, 866-996-4665. Thank you.
Fall in love with your advertising and production. Pick the Pineapple.
Hey, welcome back to Auto Dealer Live Beyond the Blacktop. And the next up today, we're talking with Brian Barlow of Pineapple Advertising. You'll recognize that name as one of our sponsors, but today it's about something totally different. So Brian, welcome to the show.
Hey, Brian.
Hey guys, doing good. I'm in the hills of Arkansas trout fishing with my daughter, my wife, and my son, and we just beached the boat, and we're taking a 15-20 minute break just for you guys.
Well, man, we thank you so much, Brian. We know you're a big family guy, and one of the things we love about you, other than your videos, which are incredible, and we appreciate you joining us, man, on your vacation. And taking a few minutes to tell a powerful story I think is going to touch really a lot of people and encourage and leave them encouraged. And that's really what the goal is today. It's beyond the blacktop. It's not just about selling a lot of cars, moving a lot of iron, producing some cool commercials, but there's a lot more to it. And I'm anxious and excited, Dave, that we get to start with Brian and his story.
Yeah, absolutely. And Brian, if you will, just begin to share with our listeners the life-altering events that happened with you and how you got through that.
Well, guys, years ago, it's probably about 9 or 10 years ago, I started Pineapple Advertising, and I'm like anyone else in the car business. And I'm driven to make money. I'm driven to be successful. I'm driven to provide the best possible content for my clients possible. And so we were well on our way of becoming an agency that is known for our great creative and for our great strategy for auto dealers and across the, from East Coast to West Coast. And so while all that was transpiring and while we're making money and we're doing good things for clients and we're building business and all that kind of stuff, I tend to forget that we're not alive to make money. We're not alive to help clients in particular. We're not alive to enjoy material which we could become accustomed to. We're alive to live life to the fullest and to represent and be a part of our family. And I was always a family guy, but I was never engaged with the family. I didn't even really want kids at at one point when we were married, my wife and I, Lori, and we would fight, 3 or 4 years into marriage, we would fight about whether or not we were going to have kids. And I just thought that kids would kind of get in the way of the overall process and the success and the big house and the travel abroad and all that kind of good stuff. And one day, and I'm going to give you guys the short version of this. One day, my then 7-year-old son was bitten by a dog, and it was a very minor bite. It was no big deal. He was at his best friend's house, and the family dog bit him, and just a little bitty scratch. Well, 24 hours later, we're sitting at Sunday brunch, and me and my wife and daughter and Eli, and we noticed that his dog bite got a little red and looked a little infected. And so my wife says, you know what? We need to take him to the doctor and just make sure that he's okay and make sure that he's all good. And I'm like, that's the mom for you, freaking out over nothing. And so she takes him in, and the doctor looks at it and, it's infected. We need to do some. It's just a minor surgery. We need to drain the infection out. Not a big deal. And so Lori calls me, and at the house watching the Dallas Cowboys play football, and she's like, "Hey, they're getting ready to take Eli under just to do a minor surgery. You might want to get up there." And I said, "Well, babe, don't let them take Eli under until I'm there in case something happens." And she's like, "Oh, babe, it's a minor surgery. It's not a big deal. Nothing's going to happen." Well, I run up to the hospital really quick, and Eli's already in surgery. And I grab Lori, and I'm like, "Is he going to be okay?" And she looks at me, she's like, "Babe, it's not a big deal. It's going to be fine." Well, 55 minutes later, which was supposed to be a 10-minute surgery, 55 minutes later, the doctor comes out, and he's completely stone-faced, whitewashed. He doesn't know how to speak to us, what to say, or how to say it. And it turns out my boy has a condition called malignant hyperthermia, which is a very, very deadly thing that happens when that type of person is administered anesthesia. And he was administered anesthesia to go under, and his body had a gigantic reaction to it. And it's 99% of the time it's deadly within 2 or 3 minutes once it's administered. And let me tell you something, guys. There is a spiritual moment that happens when you are alive and you feel your number one asset, not your business, not your car, not your house, not your best friend, your number one asset in your life, which is your children. There's a moment when someone says, that's about to leave you, that you transition yourself, that you become a different person, that your life completely transforms from one side to the other. And I'm going to be honest with you. All those material things, all those things that I worked for, all that success that I was labeled to have didn't mean a damn thing. The only thing that mattered to me was my connection with my spirit, with my God, with my Savior, in hopes that he would hear me and allow me to at least beg for Eli's life to come back alive. And through all of this miraculous things that happened, again, I'm going to give you guys a short version, all these miraculous things happened, and God touched our lives in a way that I never dreamed, transformed my life, saved my boy's life, transformed our marriage, transformed the way that we do business. And from that point, that was almost 3 years ago. From that point on, and I'm happy to say, by the way, my boy was able to fully recover. He was unconscious for 3 days. He woke up fully recovered. It was a miracle within itself. The hospitals documented it. I mean, everyone was in complete awe of what happened. But I will say this: at that point on, I just wanted to touch people in the most positive way possible. Yes, of course, I want to make money. Yes, of course, I want to create awesome car commercials, and yes, of course, I want to represent my clients to the highest and the most ability that I have. But at the end of the day, I want to get to live life with my family and my kids and the people in my circle. And Eli's joining me right now. He's listening to me. Just gave me a big hug. Again, we're out trout fishing in Arkansas. But at that point, it was all about getting to experience a better life that wasn't about material things, that wasn't about success, but about the moment in which we live. And I got to tell you, I've become a better dad. I've become a better business person. I've become a better husband. I've become a better being because of that moment. And whoever said #serve at the beginning of the show, guys, that's what it's all about. What can we do to serve our clients? What can we do to serve human beings? Yeah. What can we do to serve our families. So that's the short story, guys. I can go on and on, but I don't want to take too much time.
No.
That's the short of Come Alive.
Well, let me ask you, Brian. Thank you, and I wish we have a couple of minutes, and I know again you took time out of your schedule, but in the couple minutes that we have left, I mean, just touch on it from this because it is an encouraging story, and I recommend that people go to YouTube, look you up, Brian Barlow, Pineapple Advertising, also God is Real. I believe it is called,
God Real?
Is God.
If you just go to youcancomealive.com, Y-O-U, cancomealive.com, the entire story, the video, everything is there. Youcancomealive.com.
And I highly recommend it. But let me ask you this: we have 2 minutes and 10 seconds. But tell the dealers and the professionals listening today, because I think what really is important is there's so many things, but how it changed you. Talk a little bit about how you do business different. Talk a little bit because I can relate to that, and I know when there's different moments, and it's different for everybody. It may not be a child, it may not be this and that, whatever. But when you have that pivotal moment, that changing moment where you realize, and I said it earlier, money will find you. Of course you want to be successful. You want to do this for your clients, but money will find you when you put the priorities and things in order. Talk a little bit about that in the minute and a half we have left, Brian.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's funny because I used to work a lot harder before this life-changing event. I used to wake up really, really early and go to bed really, really late, work every Sunday. I would take Saturdays off, and I would just work hard. But I got to tell you guys, the money will find you. And even if it doesn't, it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
But how you do business and how, used to I get someone out, I have a car dealer call me up and say, hey, I love the commercials and I love the strategy that we set out for the next 12 months, but I got to cut the budget and I want to change up this commercial and add this incentive. And I'll be like, oh my gosh, it just wrecked my world because you got to follow the plan, you got to do this. Now it's that big a deal. Absolutely not. How we conduct business with our clients and with the people in our circle, and how we treat people that aren't necessarily even watching or don't even know our story is far more important to me now than it's ever been, because you never know who's watching, you never know who's going to be influenced, and you never know who you're going to engage. I'm not a big guy that reads scripture and talks scripture and pounds God on people. I'm not that guy. I feel like it's how we as professionals, whether you're a car dealership owner, whether you're an RV store owner, whether you're just a boat guide, how we conduct ourselves as individuals, how we treat people, and how we can pass along good deeds to other people is far more impactful than memorizing scripture and memorizing verse and telling people that they got to go here and do this and believe that. It boils down to how can we affect and engage people in a positive way. So that's how I conduct my personal life. That's how I conduct our business. That's how I treat my clients. And that's what I try to tell people. Things that you do on an everyday basis can influence somebody, and how you operate and how you respond and how you treat them it's far more impactful and powerful than we probably realize.
Absolutely awesome, Brian. Well, enjoy your family, man. Catch a big trout. Catch a big one, man. We want to see some tweets and some photos of how big the fish is.
Hey, yeah. Can I add this?
Sure.
I used to never take vacation with my family, and since that happened, we take vacation every single quarter. I grab the kids and I grab the wife. We go somewhere. Today we're in the hills of Arkansas. I wish you guys could see this. The water is crystal clear. We've been catching trout all day, and my boy caught a 22 inch brown. Yeah, we're catching fish right. It's heaven where we are. I wish you guys could see it, but I enjoyed being a part of your show, guys. I wish everybody well, and again, go to youcancomealive.com, YOUcancomealive.com, or of course, fixpineapple.com if you want to share commercials or see the story there too.
Thank you, Brian Barlow.
Yeah, thank you, Brian.
Talk to you
soon.
soon.
All right, have a good one, guys. Thank you, guys.
You too. All right, Beyond the Blacktop has begun.
Yes.
And I've got a note slid to me just a minute ago, and I just want to know if Clint Burns is willing to do it with every tweet that also mentions the next up. Of course, he's got to mention hashtag AutoDealerLife so we can count it. But Clint, I don't know if that's it or not. But the next up, he said $10 every time we mentioned the next up. I just did it 3 times. That's 30. So the next up, right? He said every time
the next up.
He said every time we mentioned the next up.
Do we have to say it just like that?
The next up. I think 7 right there. The next up, Clint. That's like $80. Huh? Yeah, I know Lou's on. The next up.
The next up is
the next up on Beyond the Blacktop. What an incredible story by Brian Barlow. It's going to get just better and better, or some would say gooder and gooder.
Gooder and gooder.
The next up, someone's better be counting this.
The next up is Lou Newman. Lou, can you hear us?
Lou Newman. We see him and we see his lips moving.
I think you can hear us. We can't hear you.
Yeah, we'll get Lou on. Just give us a thumbs up here, Mike.
So it'll be a minute before
so
the next
basically,
up.
yeah, let's raise some money. The next up.
The next up.
The next up.
Clint,
do you like this?
The next up.
Lou Newman, the next up on Auto Dealer Live. How are you, sir?
How are you? I appreciate being here today. I'm doing great today.
Well, no problem. We appreciate you and look forward to hearing your story and looking forward to spend the next 10 minutes here or so with you. Lou, I want to kind of jump right into it because I'm going to let you tell your story. And, we talked to Brian just a moment ago, and I'm sure you got a chance to listen, where it's about family and it was about his child and a situation that happened. And yours is also about family, and this is an incredible inspiration, an incredible story. It's near and dear to my heart because, again, as a parent, as a son, my mother just passed away in, a matter of fact, this Sunday will be a year ago. And it's an incredible story you have and inspiration that you've gleaned from your parents and related to your journey in the car business. And so take a couple of minutes here and walk our listeners through your story and how your parents were there and have supported you in this journey that you're on.
Of course. I was very blessed. I have very supportive parents, and when I first started off in the car business, I started off as a 21-year-old green tea with a baby on the way. I just graduated from Johns Hopkins University a year earlier, and I moved to Gainesville. I moved to Gainesville to be close to my parents. My parents were much older when they had me, so even at this point in my life, my parents were in their 70s. Mm-hmm. And when I moved to Gainesville in 1996, I had a baby on the way, and I had a degree from Johns Hopkins. But it seemed like because it was a college town, it really didn't matter where I got my degree. I also studied at Harvard, and it really didn't matter to the people of Gainesville, Florida, because they had the University of Florida there, and I was an outsider, and I was a transplant, and I really didn't know where to turn. And I turned to the car business. And at first, when I turned to the car business, I got some grief from my parents who just helped me pay for Hopkins experience and that Johns Hopkins degree, and they thought that I would be a lawyer, they thought that I would be a doctor, they thought I would be some type of other type of professional other than a car person. And I told them when I first got in the business that I wanted to be different and that I wanted to be a good car person and that I wanted to bring pride and a hard work ethic and ethics to a field where sometimes didn't have the best reputation. And my parents were very much against my decision to be a car person. And over time, I became a salesperson of the month. I became a finance assistant. I became a finance manager, a finance director, a sales manager, a general sales manager. And over time, my parents, who didn't want to tell people at their community functions that their son was in the car business, started bragging about me and bragging about what I did for a living. And I saw the turn, and I saw that, whether it was a new record for my store, whether it was a milestone of time in the business, there was more and more appreciation from my parents what I did professionally. And just when I got that level of feeling with my parents, and I was very proud of that, and they were proud of me, my mom got sick, and she spent 5 months struggling from colon cancer. And she ended up dying in my house. I ended up seeing her pass away. I held her hand when when she passed, it was very impactful. I could see the change of the color in her tongue. And when she got sick and when her colon cancer surgery didn't work out initially, and she went through 5 months of hell in the hospitals, my father, which was a part of her life for over 40 years, his heart broke. And right around Christmas, he just died. It wasn't planned. It just happened. He died, and then less than 2 months later, my mom died. And before my mom passed away, I was telling her and trying to explain to her what the next step was for me and what I was going to be doing in my career and my life. And I had the idea of maybe putting together a speaker conference. I got a lot of speaker conferences in my life. The training was invaluable to my progression in the car business as a car professional. And she was on board for that. And after a year of planning, I'm very happy to say that I'm finally there on the cusp of having my first ever professional conference. And I can tell you, I don't know how these people do it. Digital Dealer, NADA, obviously the Ziggers and all the events they've had over the years, whether it's Internet Battle Plan, whether it's the upcoming thing they're doing December. It's amazing how much goes into planning one of these events. And it's my first time And a lot of this is for my parents' sake, and this is obviously in their loving memory.
Wow.
You know what stood out, Cribs, to me?
What's that?
Is he said something earlier on. He said, I want to be a good car person.
Yeah, I picked up on that as well.
That resonated with me.
Yeah, it resonated with me as well. And, I had a question for Lou. Obviously, like you said, your parents may have initially kind of had thoughts of a different plan that you would have, and when you got in the car business might not have seemed the likely answer at the time, but you said over time they began to warm up and really support you. And although that might have been gradual, was there a point in your career where you knew that not only you had the blessing of your parents, but that actually drove you further?
I was partially responsible for the opening of a Volkswagen point in Leesburg for the Jenkins Group, and I was honored to do so. I did so with a gentleman by the name of Doug Prendergast and another gentleman by the name of Tom Formanak, and it was a very big honor. Not only was I leading men into battle, so to speak, but I was also partially responsible for how that opening went, how smooth it went, how efficient we were at the onset. When we first opened the store, we had no service department to get sales from, and there was a lot of stress, and I was always into the mode of contacting my parents daily. Even though I didn't live right next door, I was within an hour drive, and I visited them weekly, even through Alzheimer's, even through old age. And I would call them daily, and one of the hardest part of their loss is I don't have that person to call anymore when I have a good day. And so I would call them every day, and I worked 29 straight days to get that store launched, and then after that store was launched, Mom got sick, and my father confided with one of my children, my older daughter, and said, "He's handling everything pretty good. I'm proud of him." And that meant a lot to me that he would say that. A lot of times parents won't say that to children directly. They'll go through third-party envoys and other family and other close family friends to get that to their child. I can tell you that quite recently in the presidential debates, you have a person, a big figure like Ben Carson, saying that he's not like a typical used car salesman. That type of reputation is still out in our industry and in our field. It's up to us to change that reputation.
Well, let me ask you something. I want to give you the last minute to tell everybody about your conference. But we have 3 minutes, so for 2 of those minutes, talk to the dealers about something that you kind of said about your parents and having them available to call, and been such an encouragement. And first of all, man, if you have your parents available, I mean, what a blessing and what an awesome opportunity. And if they also are supportive and things of that nature, but talk to the countless hundreds, that don't. Let's say they don't have parents have passed, or the parents are not supportive, but they need encouragement. So what I really sense more than anything, it would be optimal to have your parents. But what if you don't? Is it important to have a mentor, or is it important to have someone that can encourage you, Lou, in the car business either way? Let me ask you this: can you be a father or mother figure, so to speak, to someone who's not your son or daughter?
I think that's a phenomenal point. I think what you just made, I think that having that mentor, not only for a beacon of ideas and running ideas about changes to your processes or to your advertising or how your BDC is set up or how customers are handled at your dealership, but just to have that support system. I mean, let's face it, we deal with a business of rejection. Every day people reject us. Some may brag that they close 60% of the time. Some may brag they close 40% of the time. Real numbers may be closer to 20 to 25% of the time. And regardless of what metric you use, more times than not, you at this business fail more than you succeed. And you need that mentoring. You need that accountability partner. You need that person that is there to go ahead and talk to without bringing things up to your boss. I think that a lot of times in this business, car dealerships are not in line with other non-car dealership businesses out there, where if you're a middle-level manager or a junior executive and if you're having a bad day and someone's made you upset and you're trying to vent, I think that you don't go to your boss to vent. I think that you have a third-party mentor, you have a third-party source, whether that's a group, whether that's sometime you donate of yourself to 1 hour a month to other executives in your community, where you're showing up for your dealership and yourself and branding yourself and going and working with nonprofits, but maybe letting those executives hear about your plight at work and them try to figure out how to make your workplace better instead of going to a boss. Another part of this, the mentoring is key. And the way that we've set up this conference, and I just want to speak about it for a minute or two,
Sure,
and I
sure.
appreciate you inviting me to talk about the conference today as well. This conference, Sales and Finance Manager Seminar, A Modern and Integrated Approach, is going to be held November 3rd in Savannah, Georgia. I've got 5 speakers coming to this conference in 5 hours. It is the first Tuesday of the sales month. It's after accounting day. It's designed by me and by others as a pro car approach seminar conference. We're going to start out by having a keynote speaker from Jim Ziegler. We're very impressed and honored that he's going to be attending with us. Him and Miss Debbie Ziegler will be attending. We're hoping to have 100 to 150 attendees at the end. We're also honored and privileged to have Paul Petrat of Petrat Advertising be there with us. Along with Jim and Paul, we'll have Tammy LeBlue from AutoLoop with us. And we'll also have Cody Jerry from Search Engines MD or SEMD.com. So this is my theory for the conference, for those that are able to attend, and it would be an honor and privilege if you attend, because in a way, subsequently, it would be honoring the loss of my parents as well if you were to attend, because it's in their memory that I'm doing this. But what we're going to do is we're going to talk about how Paul can advertise online digitally for your dealership. We're then going to talk about how Cody and Search Engine MDs can go ahead and help with a social media strategy and an SEO back tag strategy that will get more people in coordination with that advertising event into your BDC. We're then going to talk about structured BDC and how to set up the appointment so people show. And then we're going to have the alpha dog, Jim Ziegler, talk about how to close those people when they arrive. So from A to Z, it's a very functional, very real. We're going to learn a lot together. It's going to be where these individuals both speak and then have question and answer sessions one-on-one. But the whole point of this is to sell more cars, to increase our closing ratios, and to get outside of the box of just having one OEM website and over-relying on recurring billing month-to-month vendors that are not really that helpful to a dealership. This is about dealership self-empowerment. This is about being proud of your trade. This is about being proud of what we do for a living. This is about empowering ourselves to be the best individual business we can be, to attract as many customers, to treat them in a way that gets us the most business as possible.
Awesome,
And
man.
I'm honored that so many people have gone on board with me just because they've heard my story as well, and they feel what it's like to lose 2 parents in 2 months.
Awesome. Well,
That's an inspirational story, Lou.
Thank you.
Give us a number that dealers can reach you if they're interested in attending.
The direct contact cell phone is 352-870-4622. We also have a website that we just recently set up for this. The main point of this website is this conference to order tickets online or get information, and that's going to be NewmanStrategyGroup.com.
Thank you, Lou Newman.
Lou Newman, thank you for being with us. We appreciate it.
Thank you for the ability to be here with you guys today, and keep doing what you're doing. It's a great service to the automotive industry.
Thank you
Thank
so
you,
much.
sir.
Thank you. That was the last up, but the next up.
The next up.
The next up. Who's the next up, Dave?
The next up.
Yeah, the next up.
You mean the next up?
Yeah,
after
right
the
after.
last-
Yeah, the next one. Yeah, the next up.
Because I said the next up like right before this guy too.
Right.
So you're talking about not the last up, but the next up.
Right,
Not the
the
next up, but the next up.
Right.
All right.
The next up.
The next up.
Sorry, we're doing this for a good cause, though.
Yes, we are. We're doing this for a good cause, and we're excited to have this next guest on as the next up on Auto Dealer Live, Beyond the Blacktop, and got a chance to meet Brian last week at Digital Dealer in Vegas. Was familiar with obviously what he's gone through, but got a chance to hear a little bit from him directly. And you know what? It was just very, very, I look at it as unique and interesting and timely on how this show just came together. So without further ado, Dave, the next up on Auto Dealer Live is Brian Armstrong, and he's sitting in his office, I believe, at the dealership as we speak. Brian, thanks for joining us. How you doing today, sir?
I'm doing well. I'm absolutely been flabbergasted by the events of the day and more than honored to be here. Thank you.
Thank you, Brian. It was a pleasure to meet you in person in Vegas. I know you followed the show for a long time, but why don't you share a little bit of your story? And I apologize that we're so limited on time because we want to hear so much about it, but tell us what's going on with you personally.
You know what? It's kind of odd. I'll tell you, my wife Tamara has a unknown rare polycystic disorder. They can't figure out what it is. She's had 2 to 3 major surgeries every year for about the past 4 years. And ultimately, it boils down to that she can't retain weight. Her body does not process food, doesn't retain nutrients and everything else. So at 5'7", she hovers between 98 to 102 pounds, and has been on a feeding tube almost continuously for 2 years. One of the things and we've been told that there was nothing else further that the doctors here in Utah could do, and that our only help was to maybe get to either Mayo in Rochester, Minnesota, or to get to the Cleveland Clinic, both of which were 2 of the top gastroenterologists in the country. We had been rejected prior by the Mayo because they apparently don't like to bring people out on false hope. So unless they have a for sure cure, they don't like to admit you. But and of course, we were fighting with our insurance company, and so a lot of this was coming out at the same time of some other personal turmoils. My wife and I have been foster parents for years and years. We've had 23 different foster kids. All 4 of my kids are adopted, and we had just adopted in 2012. We just adopted 3 girls. And so in addition to, and they were, my kids now are 11, 12, 13, and 14. Again, all adopted. It's not because I live in Utah. It's just they're all adopted. So anyway, and so there was a little bit of transition going on in the household and a lot, and but Tamara and I had talked, and we had made the decision that since it was basically a terminal diagnosis, that we would just keep it to ourselves and live out the life that we had in fulfillment and joy, and count the blessings that we had. And then about 6-8 months ago, while I was I was here in town. I just kind of fallen off going to conferences and speaking and some other things in the last few years for obvious reasons. But I was in town, all of a sudden my phone starts blowing up. And my right hand, Jessica Richardson, who's just amazing, I'd be lost without her, but she started a GoFundMe to help get me to the medical treatment that we needed and to help take care of this overwhelming burden of the financial stress that these medical bills had caused. And she tweeted initially, and I was at DD in Florida, and I think it was Subi and maybe Skeetle on the very first tweets, and maybe Micah Burkholz. Anyway, it was just a couple of my good friends, people that we had deemed AutoFam, and that was a hashtag that, believe it or not, I believe it was Subi that actually came up with that, Subi Ghosh, who's with Dealer Authority. But she had gone and come up with the AutoFam, because in AutoFam, whether it's me or Kevin Fry or Joe Weber, whether you're on the vendor side or on the retail side, I can understand someone like you, David, better than I can even my next door neighbor, because you understand the challenges that I go through. You understand what it's like to run, 2 top VW stores, especially right now, and then also try and juggle a robust, healthy family life and provide the attention and the spiritual needs and everything else of all the people that depend on you, as well as the fiscal needs of the people that depend on you and your employee. So I've been very blessed to work with a great partner and mentor in Jeff Davis. He's the director of operations and owner of the Lee Summit store that we have in Lee Summit, Missouri. And he's been very supportive of all of this that's been going on. Long story short is that this thing took on a life of its own. J.D. Rucker reached out to me shortly thereafter and shared a little bit of a personal experience that he had with his own wife, and he says, hey, if the only thing standing between you and your wife's life is just basically some financial hurdles and a couple of contacts, let us help. And at that point, the Dealer Authority team, I mean, they just, and this is God, keep in mind, these are people that I've never done business with in any way, shape, or form. I met Christine Robertson once at a DFES meeting. And she put on this CarStrong, and through CarStrong, this Facebook organization, I mean, not only was I able to connect with Ryan Leslie and share in his special experience of his spirit of his son and his spirituality as he went through that loss, and got to meet him live in Vegas. But also, you know, some of these other people that are just like me. They face the exact same challenges. They go through the exact same turmoil. And they're people of faith, and they're good people. And I think that is where the auto industry is changing, is that we serve, and we've worked so far to be transparent with our customers. And now we just, you know, are transparent one with another, whether it be, you know, from the vendor to a dealer such as myself, or from, you know, from amongst one another. And it's been so humbling to see people like Matt and you and, you know, others. I mean, the DSES, the Next Stop hashtag that they're going to run at DSES this weekend, where I'll be speaking as well. It's so cool.
Well, you got, you know, Brian, and it's in the last couple of minutes here, I want to say that, and I want to ask you, but I want to say it has touched many people. And it's not just, and here's the crazy thing, is I'm looking at the screen up in front of us on the wall of some of the tweets that are coming through on hashtag. You know, it's not just because it's a story that tugs at the heartstrings. It's not. It's the fact that you hit it on the head, man. We're human beings, and we're in an industry where we serve people, and we serve people of all types. You know, all ages, all nationalities, all races. I mean, they drive cars, and we see them, and we hear stories and after story, and we're touched. And honestly, I don't think you can effectively sell cars and be in an industry where people are prominent unless you like people. You know, I mean, it's just as simple as that. And so your story has touched many, many people. And I know Matt Koenig's going to be on at the very, very end to bring us up to speed on some things that have transpired today that, you know, all day long, just with with what you need now. And, you know, and I'm going to put the challenge out there. First of all, our company here at IPD, we're going to give $1,000 to it, to the cause. And so we'll get with Matt or whoever we need to get with and make that happen. But I want to challenge you, if you're listening. Brian's story is a lot more extensive, but he needs help right now. I mean, literally, it's life and death with, you know, and these are people that are doing this for you because they care, brother. They care about you. They care about your wife. They care about your family. And you know what? I'm going to say this may be foreign to some people, but you know what? As a person of faith myself, we have a corporate chaplain here. We're going to pray for your wife too. We're going to believe, because you know what? Miracles still take place, and things still happen, and there's still hope when others say there is no hope, and because we know where hope lies. And so I just want you to know that people care. And I think you know that, but I want you, in if you can do it, we only have about a minute. I want you to take a minute, and I want you to give in your best opinion why this has touched so many car people. Why? You know,
you know what? And thanks for that opportunity. I think that we compartmentalize our lives, and it's crazy, but you know, into my salespeople, I sit there and I always try and strengthen the onus, the privilege that it is to be able to have your customers trust you, involve you in such a major portion of their lives, and to have that trust and that faith, and how it needs to be honored and respected. And I passionately believe this. And so that you get ahead by serving others, and that the further you push someone up the ladder of success, the higher else you will go as well. And so I think that what it is that we all have challenges in our life that we don't feel comfortable sharing sometimes, even with, you know, our spouse or our chaplain or, you know, our pastor or whoever it may be, just because they don't come from the same point of reference. And the fact is I can look to my auto fam. I can look to people who are CarStrong. I can look to people that, you know, and they'll call me out of the blue and just say, hey, man, are you doing okay? I was thinking of you. I can tell you personal experience. You know, God is good. I've been blessed, and I've been blessed with being in association with people who are so much better than I, and continually inspire me every day. And now to be on the receiving end of this is overwhelming.
You inspire us.
Flabbergasted.
You inspire us, man.
Yeah, it's very inspiring. I honestly, I can't even imagine how you're sitting there with your name. Looks like your name tag on and everything. I mean, you're obviously at the dealership working. I mean, first of all, you have my respect for that alone, and then to hear you talk about the fact that you're coaching your salespeople with character. Right? I hope that we have a listening audience outside of the car business watching today's show, because I think we're all seeing the human side of not only the car business, but how amazing car people are.
Yeah, absolutely.
They really are. I tell you, it is definitely an industry evolving, and I'm so proud to be a part of it.
Thank you, Brian.
Well, thank you, Brian. We're gonna wrap it up. We are going to put up the link to your GoFundMe here, and we're gonna do that when Matt Koenig comes on, and we're gonna get an update on today's events. If you're watching the show or listening right now, stick around to the end. You won't want to miss what's going to happen. But how can people reach out to you, Brian, if they want to talk to you directly?
You know what? I'm on Twitter at Brian Car Guy. My email is Brian the Car Guy. And on Facebook, obviously, just Brian Armstrong, or on LinkedIn. Reach out for me just under Brian the Car Guy at gmail.com on LinkedIn.
Thank you, Brian.
Thank you so much, Brian.
All right. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.
By the way, Kevin Fry, you're listening. I see the tweet up there. I got your voicemail, and I did not get it until recently, but I will be calling you. I wanted to take the time to say that because, hey,
there's been like 21 the next ups, by the way.
Yeah, the next.
I think it's 22 actually.
Yeah, and I want to say this before we say the next up another 3 or 4 times.
Right.
The next up, the next up, the next up. We're going to go to GYSO. They're back, and we're going to take. Obviously, they did not know about this when they recorded it. I don't believe. So they're going to have a short, few-minute segment here, which is incredible. They're going to be talking social, but we're coming back. You don't want to miss. We're not finished.
Nope.
Matt Koenig's
No.
going to come on at the very end again, and he's going to tell you something incredible that happened today. But the next up after GYSO is Danny Benitez, and I'm going to tell you something. Danny's got an incredible story that you don't want to miss, and it will inspire you just by the sheer fact that he's here telling the story. It inspired me.
Yes.
It inspires me.
Yes, I think we're going to find out some details about Danny's life and some of the couple of events that he's been through that you probably didn't know about Danny Benitez.
And
so
stay
tuned.
You do not want to miss it. So stay tuned. The next up is GYSO, and we'll be right back.
Go ahead, get on with it. Or better yet, what about get your reputation on? We've talked about online reputation quite a bit here on Get Your Social On, and we will continue to do so because it is a hot topic, something you guys really care about, and something dealerships are taking more and more into consideration when they're interacting with their customers.
And of course, it's been integrated into social media, so it's important that we talk about it because online reputation, as we've said probably many times before, is extremely important, should never be ignored. And so today's topic is basically how online reviews actually start at your dealership store.
So really, it starts offline.
That's right. So, it's not that it's about the dealership reviews are, or it's about the customer's experience. It's about both. And so it's a great time to reflect on how well your dealership is performing, especially when you have a collective amount of reviews, especially over a month of time, or you can compare it to the previous month. So ignoring them is just not the case any longer.
And having fake reviews is so passé. Let's not even discuss that. So what you want to do is you want to have real reviews by real people who are customers of yours, and how you go about increasing that is by making sure it becomes a part of your process. Here's the thing. When you are going to leave a tip for somebody somewhere, whether it's financial or otherwise, it has to do on their performance. How did they perform in providing you the customer service that you believe you deserved? So that's the same thing with online reviews. It's their way of giving you a hat tip, basically saying, you know what, you did a good job or you did a bad job. And you can take that and you can actually use it to learn from it or keep applying that same process and gain more reviews.
Yes, I mean, if you treat every customer as if they're the first customer that you've had, so be it the customer that you've had at 9 a.m. or the customer you had at 5 p.m., whatever the case may be, if you treat them as if they're the first customer you've had all day, it changes the experience for that customer. And how you treat them the minute that they step out of their car onto your lot, how you greet them, how you help them. Is there a long waiting time? How much are you keeping them updated with the process of their vehicle, be it that you're selling a vehicle to them or you're servicing their vehicle? Is there amenities at the waiting area? Have you, requested for a review from them? Maybe you should have a tablet or something like a computer or something in the waiting area so they have the opportunity to leave you a review even while they're there at your dealership.
Great idea.
Yeah.
The thing is, too, is that having it a part of your process is fantastic. Because as a salesperson, you're sizing them up as soon as they come on the lot. You're going to try to figure out, are they a family person, what kind of vehicle they're looking for, and you're going to ask the right questions. But are you asking at the end for them to fill out a form, or like Amanda said, have them have access to social media to easily be able to write a review on Google Plus or on review sites? The thing is that they're sizing you up too.
Exactly.
So they're going to start asking questions, and they're going to start sizing you up and saying, okay, how is this person going to treat me differently than the dealership down the street? And because there is so much competition out there, and there is ways for them to voice themselves now, just like you can as a customer, they're going to look for that opportunity to see, okay, you didn't treat me as well as 1, 2, 3, 4 did. Or, you guys are so great, I want the world to know. And in fact, the world can know now. So think about how you're treating your offline customers that are essentially the same as your online customers to increase those reviews. The other good thing is thinking about, acquiring emails. And you're probably already doing it with your CRM tool.
Right. I mean, you could be requesting for reviews through recent customers that came to your dealership, and we highly recommend that. But you shouldn't just rely on that, right? You should also be very highly active inside the dealership of requesting for reviews inside there. Now, of course, you're not going to make everybody happy, and not every review is going to come out stellar. But the truth is that you want to lessen the chances of that happening. And by doing so is how you treat your customers, and by asking for reviews, especially with the customers that they pretty much had a good experience, because people aren't inclined to go and leave a review unless they've had a bad experience. So try to incorporate that into your daily routine. Make sure that reviews become a very important part of your dealership's culture. And talk amongst your crew, your team members.
Exactly. If you're a GM owner, check out on the various popular review sites for the automotive industry, and be sure to see what's going on, what's trending. Is most people, talking really great about the dealership? Is that the overall feeling people are getting in the perception of your dealership? Or is it between, 9 months and 2 months and 6 months that you're seeing negativity? Maybe it's time to address your employees, your coworkers,
right?
Trying to figure out, okay, how can we make it better so we start making more sales?
Right. I mean, that's the key thing too, is that people tend to rely on reviews to help them make a decision in their buying a vehicle. So you want to kind of look at it and say, is there a pattern here? Is there something happening? Were you getting a lot of positive reviews, and then this month, all of a sudden, there was a lot of negatives? Was there something that changed at the dealership? These are the types of things that you can help figure out with the use of online reviews.
So it's definitely something you want to take into consideration. If you want to know where we're from and we haven't met before, we're from the internet marketing company Wikimotive. You can head on over there to wikimotive.com/GYSO. I'm Erin Ryan.
And I'm Amanda Ryan.
And we enjoy interacting with you on social media. Check us out on Facebook, facebook.com/groups/GetYourSocialOn, or on Twitter, twitter.com/GYSO. And
Addicts.
until next time, friends, get your social on.
And we're back. We're back. Auto Dealer Live, Beyond the Black Top.
Yeah.
And the next up is Danny Benitez. How you doing, Danny?
What's up, guys?
What's up?
Hey,
What's up, Danny?
It was great to see you recently in Vegas as well. We appreciated you
Yeah,
coming.
we finally got to meet in human.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
It was
was
awesome.
great.
It was like you're a lot better looking in person, Danny, than I thought you'd be.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I saved the best for personal encounters. Yeah. I dressed down for this deal.
You look taller in person.
Oh, thank you very much.
No,
I
you're
also wear
just
heels.
you're just short.
I
man.
look shorter
Yeah,
everywhere.
You're just
so.
short. He is.
Yeah, I would imagine a lot of people are tall than you guys.
Thanks, Dan.
Sorry.
Well, Danny, why don't
Cribs used to model for Trophy Tops. Did you know that? He was a Trophy Top. Yeah, it was very small. Sorry, that was terrible. Anyway.
I'm slightly taller than
You
the
talking about
bobblehead.
like on cakes? You like on cakes? You mean?
I'm sorry.
Like on cakes.
I haven't really given you guys a hard time in a while. I'm a little rusty.
Well, you know that's how they invented those little grooms on the cake tops. Cribs was dancing on a table and stepped up on the cake. Someone snapped a picture. And then the cake top was invented.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, thanks for that addition to society.
Well, thanks for being with us, man.
Yeah, and Danny,
Glad to be here.
Danny, I can remember reading a little bit about your story, and I'm going to let you share that with the viewers and listeners. But when I read it, not only was I shocked and surprised because, you know, you're Danny Benitez, you're the Carmedian, right? And to be able to go through what you've experienced is just amazing. But why don't you tell our viewers and listeners a little bit about it?
Sure, I will. I want to begin by saying that my heart goes out to Brian and Tamara. I supported them a little earlier financially, and I would ask that everybody stick around and listen to what Matt has to say. Matt Koenig and Chris Spear have done a remarkable job today, just pushing the cause and really answering the call, which is really kind of what we're talking about today. So, but really, his family is really what we need to be thinking about. And what I'm going to tell you is the past and what's happened to me. And so maybe what they're going through now, maybe them as well as anyone else listening that has been through some tough times, maybe I can serve as some inspiration. Not that I've achieved anything great, but I've healed and I've come through these things and maintained a good attitude and been able to kind of help some other people. So maybe that's the message of today, is that beyond selling cars and closing and all those things that we pretend are important, the important things are our loved ones and healing and going through these things. You're not going to avoid heartache and hardship. And a lot of people don't know this about me. I share it when I'm asked to, and I do it only to serve as inspiration, not to really have anyone's sympathy. But really, beginning in about 2006, for about a 6 or 7 years period, I had a pretty interesting run of things. In 2006, I lost my father, who was my best friend, my mentor, and really the example in my life in every way as a man and as a father. But lost him in 2006, and it was really, really tough. 2007, I went in for a routine surgery. I was supposed to be out of work for about a week, in and out of the hospital in a couple of days. Spent 47 days in the hospital, flatlined twice, was in coma for 12 days, and really wasn't expected to live. Woke up with burn marks on my chest from the paddles, and just almost died. And really, I did a lot of soul searching at that time. Started really examining whether or not I was happy in life and what I was doing and what I needed to be doing, and really the reality of life kind of set in during that experience. So 2010 was tough. 2011, my mom was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, moved out of her home and put into an Alzheimer's home. dealing with that on top of these other things was pretty tough. But 2012 kind of took the cake. In January the 18th, 2012, I got a phone call from my ex-wife at that point telling me that my son, who ironically was also 29 years old, had collapsed and had been taken to the hospital. And so he was in California and out of my reach. And so, I called in, and we that day, that I got the call at about noon. So that day was spent really talking to doctors, and nobody really knew what had happened. They just knew he was short of breath, things of that nature. And so we went through, and sadly, at about 11 o'clock that night, I was on the phone when the doctors had to rush in and try for about the sixth time to revive him. And he passed away at about 11:30. So at the age of 29, also almost a year later from the 29-year-old young man that I was supposed to train, then my son passed away. And it was incredible. I mean, it was surreal. It was not anything that I had expected. And, my prayer at that point, after I kind of got my breath, after a day or two later, was really that God just kind of take me through every emotion. I wanted to be angry. I wanted to be sad. I wanted to go through all of it because I didn't want to go through that again. And the thing that I think you're alluding to is the blog I wrote called Cleared for Takeoff, because Zach was a pilot, and parallels between the first plane ride I went with him and his passing. And if you get a chance, maybe you guys can tweet out the link to it. It's really a pretty powerful message, and it was. I did it to inspire and maybe to reach out to people, and the response was incredible. I don't know how many countries people were represented from that read it, and I got an email from a guy from another country that said, I've spoken to my son in 12 years, and your story inspired me to call him, and we spoke last evening and are building the bridge again. So, I think the message there is life is precious. You don't know when these things are going to happen or when somebody's going to leave. So, don't spend your time worrying about silly things. We need to do our job. It's a means to an end, but these things are they pale in comparison when you talk about the real life things that happen. So for me, and really the message, that's a fairly depressing string of things, but the happy ending is that through people in the car community, which we spend a lot of time up here, so they become your closest friends and your family, kind of away from your family. And those people, the love and support and the hugs and the well wishes and the shoulders to cry on, all those things, they're what brought me through. And Zach himself, his spirit, he would have been so mad if he knew that I was sulking around and that I didn't take something from this tragedy and try to make it positive. So since that point, I've been able to counsel with a lot of people who have lost children, people who have children that are sick or that are going through different kind of things. I could do an entire show on all the different blessings that have happened out of this tragedy, and I miss him every single day. And his memory lives on, and I'll never forget the impact he had on me and the impact he had on other people. But it's my turn now to try to give back and take that experience and make it positive, and to have people do the most with what they have. And one of my favorite quotes is, and it really relates to us being cognizant of what's going on around us and serving, like we talked about. And I don't remember who said it, but it's every day, everyone we meet is fighting a battle that we know nothing about. And so you never really truly understand the nature of another person's pain because you haven't gone through it. So it's our job just to be responsive, like we're doing with Brian and Tamara. And we have a responsibility to respond to those things because you don't know what somebody else is going through. And if you have a chance to make a difference, you need to take that opportunity. So,
well, one of the things, Danny, I'm going to read if I can get through. But I love what you said at the end. If you're okay with it, if I can read the little note that you said to your son. You said, "I love you, son. It's hard to let you go, but this picture, and there's a really cool picture you took. But this picture of you just comforts me to know that your heart was prepared for this trip. We just weren't prepared for you to take off so soon. You're not going to believe the party waiting for you on the other side. Say hi to Dad for me. Congrats on your new wings." And the thing, though, about you, and I didn't know this, for the majority of the time that I've known who you are and known you, that you inspire people. You not only make people laugh, smile, man, but you're encouraging, and there's something about you that's contagious from the very first time I ever talked to you. So I will tell you that, man, you've made, he's looking down, smiling, because, and so is your dad, because, man, look, people you've touched in general, just in life. That's a fact.
But thank you very much, and it's my mission, and and we're just here to serve people. I wrote a little quote, and it got a little bit of play, and I think I sent it to you. But it's why we're here, and we're here to serve people. People's motivations are different. The quote is, "If your desire is to serve, then money becomes a byproduct. But if your desire is money, then serving becomes a job."
Wow.
And really, serving needs to be the way we do things. Money will come. And you know what? I didn't have any money in 2008. I was busted. But you know what? I wasn't any. It didn't change anything. So money's just kind of part of it. It's kind of our barometer of success, and it doesn't need to be. We really need to measure our success in lives that we touch and the difference that we make. And I don't know, when you do that, your days seem more fulfilling, and you want to be successful in all those things that the world calls it, but really you find joy and happiness in the kind of lives that you can touch, and you just need to leave an imprint. Somebody else was saying, I'm working on what they're going to write on my tombstone. That's my daily job. And so, what's your legacy? What are people going to say about you first when they talk about you once you're gone? So it's just our job to leave a legacy. And I appreciate the topic today, because we're not talking about SEO and leads and all that other crap. We're talking about real life stuff, and those things are fun and they're important, and it's not crap. Your shows are great. Other than sometimes your jackets are questionable, but the content is fantastic.
Some of your jackets.
But I appreciate you. I appreciate you hitting the pause button and let's talking about some human things, and then we can get back to closing deals and kicking ass next time. Yeah.
Well, Kevin Fry said you're making him misty-eyed. He said you're making this ex-naval aviator misty-eyed. So if you can make Kevin cry,
let me tell you, Kevin Fry is one of my favorite people in the whole world.
Well, you made him cry.
I just followed him. Yeah, he's terrific, man. He's inspiring. I love that guy, and that means a lot, because I really have a lot of respect for him.
Well, man, that's awesome. I can't thank you enough for Danny for coming on. And by the way, the Next Up tweeted out and said 44 up to 44. They're donating $10 every time we say the Next Up. And so they said, is that the best we've got?
Saying what? My mic went out. Saying what?
The Next Up.
The Next Up, Danny. The Next Up.
The Next Up?
The Next Up.
Next Up?
Yeah, the Next Up.
Okay, the Next Up.
Yeah.
Right.
Next Up.
Yep, the Next Up.
Hey, David?
Yeah.
Who's next up?
The Next Up is Subi Ghosh.
Oh.
Yeah, she's the Next Up.
Thank you, Danny.
Thanks, Danny.
Hey, you bet, guys. Always a pleasure.
All right.
And you heard him. The Next Up is...
The Next Up is Subi Ghosh. The Next Up.
Subi Ghosh.
Subi Ghosh. She is the Next Up.
How about that, Clint? That was like another 15 or so, right? I mean,
let's hope
how
so.
if you can make money like that? Just you make money by saying something like that. $150 was just boom, 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 right?
That's awesome.
The Next Up. The Next Up.
The Next Up
is the Lady of Automotive, and she's got a very inspiring story as well that very few people may know about. And we're going to let her share it as well. And I think there's probably many women who can relate to this story as well. It's probably a private, maybe a private struggle that many that maybe around us you wouldn't know are going through it. And Subi, I love what she said. She said she finally had the courage and was brave enough to share her story. And I think it's going to inspire us. And the Next Up is Subi Ghosh. What's up, Subi?
Hey, guys. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. How are you doing?
I've been ugly crying all episode, so I'm okay, I guess.
I know it was hard. I was reading that quote from Danny, and I'm like, if I have to read this on the show, I know, and I somehow I was able to make it through that little quote there. But well, thank you for coming on today. I know that you're busy, and but what an incredible day, and No, I didn't know until just recently, obviously regarding this show, some of the struggles that you've gone through. And I think what's so cool, and I was looking forward to you coming on at the end here, because we're also, I think we could talk about not just your struggle and how you've overcome it, but also the reason this resonates. All of these stories resonate. I just thought you were the perfect person to probably kind of tie all that in too. That make sense?
Yeah, it does. Mm-hmm.
So talk to us and the listeners about your struggle, and then why also you think that that CarStrong and AutoFam and all the things that you're part of, and just why this means so much to this group of people that are in this business that we love.
Well, thank you guys so much for having me. I'm really proud to be included in an event that's talking about this stuff, because as an industry, we're so go, 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 and talk about the drive and waking up early and getting home late and putting everything into it. But we don't talk about the things that make us human, that the challenges that are presented to us every day. I didn't realize how hard this was going to be for me. I haven't really shared this aspect of my life. I can talk about social, dealer authority, anything all day long. But this is hard. And one of the things that got me through this was the AutoFam, the auto community, some people that I gathered. And I just really quickly want to say thank you to Dealer Authority, because their support messages when I thought that I wasn't going to make it to get on the show, because I was really scared, was everything to me. So thank you guys. At 19, I was diagnosed with premature ovarian failure. And what that means is my reproductive organs were pretty much shutting down. And to a lot of people, that's just, you can't have a child, and that's past, but you'll get over it. But coming from, I'm the oldest of 19 grandchildren. I didn't know what I wanted to be in life, but I knew I wanted to be a mother. So that itself was very difficult. Sorry. But my body was going through all sorts of things. I couldn't wake up in the morning sometimes because I just couldn't get my body to move. I would faint all the time when I didn't even know it. There was a point where I just laid down on the showroom floor because I needed to get cold to my temples to snap out of me fainting. My hormones were so out of whack that really just normal everyday things that seemed normal were very difficult. The hardest part about it was that it's called an invisible illness, meaning that if you didn't know that I was sick by me telling you, you probably wouldn't know. But it was a serious challenge for the last 10 years of my life to go through this. And my bosses really a lot of times didn't get it, because they were, you need to be here at such and such a time, you need to work these bell to bells, and you just have to get through it. I don't care what's going on in your life. And I had some good managers. But I think the greatest regret of my life was putting so much into a company that really didn't understand what was going on, to the point where my doctors didn't even know what was going on with me. I was bounced around and misdiagnosed so much that my husband jokes and comes up with little, and every time I come back from a doctor, he's like, "Oh, do you have XYZ today, or is it, PDF?" And he'll just make up weird acronyms. But it was very difficult, to the point where at a dealership that I was at, they pretty much told me all of my lymph nodes were swollen throughout my stomach, and the doctors were telling me that I had to start chemo right away, and they had me in the chair and the needle was inches away. And my husband was fighting with them. He goes, "Unless you give me verifiable evidence, I'm not putting chemo through my way." And so we fought back, and the dealership, as I'm going through this, is telling me that I had taken one too many days off. Mind you, it was 4 days. 4 days in the last 4 months. And if I didn't get back, that I would just lose my job. And lucky for me, my husband fighting got me out of it, and we found alternate solutions. But the reality is, as an industry, we make such an effort of pushing people, right? And that's all good and fine. But this is why I believe in lenient schedules and listening to our employees and finding out what's going on in their lives. You can have the most dedicated person that you're just overlooking because you don't realize they have something going on in their life, right? And I had the most incredible DM who listened, who understood, and gave me that leniency. And it was within the last 4 years that I really was able to get a hold of this. So imagine going through this for almost a decade to find someone who allowed me to go to the doctor, the specialists don't have easy schedules on nights and weekends, you know. He gave me the time to be able to do that. And then JD and Tyson are the most incredible people I've ever worked for. And without their support, I wouldn't be the healthiest I've ever been in my entire life. And if you have, I'm so sorry.
I know. Don't apologize.
If you just for 1 second find out what's going on in your people's lives, you'll have people that I've never worked as hard or as long hours ever in my life. And that's because I believe in my leadership. And my last GM was incredible too. But the one that, you know, didn't replace me for a gorilla. But I would say for the people that are in leadership roles, find out what's going on in your people's lives and be willing to work with people and identify people that are going to give you everything. And also, don't be so skeptical of things like invisible illnesses. There's thousands of them. Just because you can't see it and it's not tangible to you doesn't mean it's very real to the person. So I would say that we need to do that because we're all just humans trying to make a buck to put food on the table, right? So sure. I think it's definitely something that's important for us to do. Yeah. So people always argue with me when I say it's not all about the grind and the hustle. That's all important, but us connecting with humans, that's the most important part, right? We're trying to do that with customers and get them to gain rapport with us. It's the same. So I can go on forever. I'm just kind of rambling at this point, but
no, Subi, I think you did an amazing job. First of all, thank you for sharing your personal struggle, and more importantly, also thank you for kind of summing it all up for all of our viewers and listeners and dealers that are watching and people that are in those positions.
There was no need for questions. I mean, just when you start talking, I just knew at that point that we were going to sit here and listen because you know what, you just spoke from your heart, and I think that spoke volumes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
And so thank you for coming on. Matt Keenan is going to come on here in a second and share, I guess, tremendously what's been going on with the GoFundMe and with Subi. Thanks for joining us. And we want to do this. And I just know that you're an incredible proponent of this as well. Very, very kind person. You work with a great company in JD. And so thank you for coming on and sharing with us.
Thank you guys so much for having me. And just to, we so often focus on all these topics, and the fact that you guys are making this a topic that's important to discuss. I'm so proud to even be associated with you guys to do this. I'm so thankful, and congratulations. It's about damn time we started talking about other things like that.
Come on. It's our pleasure for sure. So thank you for being with us. Thank you. We'll see you soon.
Thank you, Subi.
The one and only Subi Ghosh. Yes. And, you know, I love it. I like the rawness. We're going to bring Matt Keenan on. I know Matt's only got a few minutes.
I think he's the next up.
Yeah, he's the next up for sure. He only has a couple minutes, but we're 25 minutes over anyway. If you're still with us, thank you. But you know what? I mean, it's not like we're on a network or something. It's just, the internet keeps going. But it's worth our time if it's worth yours. And we're almost finished here. We've got a couple more minutes, but we're going to bring Matt Keenan on. He's got to run to a meeting, but he wants to share, and we want him to share what's been going on today. He dedicated the entire day, their company's entire day, to Brian Armstrong and his situation. Again, we're making a donation of $1,000 to that cause. I mean, it's the least we can do. I mean, it's a life, man. It's not like it's a life.
Yes.
I mean, it's a person. It's a human. I mean, put a cost on that. Put a price on that, or there is none. So it's the least we could do. And I know you guys have done amazing things. Clint Burns, I think we're up to like 64 $66, $68, the next up, the next up, the next up, the next up, the next up. But, you know, there's $40. But, you know, the deal is.
Yeah. And also, real quick, Bobby Heron. Bobby Heron of Garber Automotive. She was a top 40 under 40 winner by Automotive News. She helps run several rooftops. She has offered for every person that donates today to Brian Armstrong GoFundMe, at the end of each week next month, she's going to draw a name, and she's going to give free consulting. If you're a vendor, she'll listen to your pitch. If you're a dealer, she'll help you with your dealership for free. So here's an opportunity to connect with Bobby and get some free.
Every person
get some trade
that donates
secrets
today gets into that drawing.
It gets into that drawing,
Cool.
and Bobby stepped up to the plate. Thank you, Bobby Heron.
Well, the next up we have for a couple of minutes is the one, the only, the man with the hair, Matt Koenig.
What's up, guys?
What's up, Matt?
Hashtag second best hair.
I'm so jacked. And thank you. And today will be one of the only days that I won't let you make it about my hair. But, you know, the first thing I want to say is this. The GoFundMe has been doing so well today. And we didn't start it, right? I mean, it's been going on. They've raised over, well over $20,000. Today's been just an amazing blessing, though, because there have been over $2,500, $2,588 have been raised today for Brian and his family, which is, I mean, that's just mind-blowing, right? Like, almost $3,000 today. But here's what's more mind-blowing. I'm going to tell you guys right now, for some reason, the GoFundMe is actually crashed. Now, I hope to hell that's a good thing, because so many people are trying to hit it right now. Because right now I keep refreshing the screen on the iMac, and the GoFundMe is down. So, but there's, it's really awesome stuff. I called my business partner, Tim, yesterday, and I said, hey, man, you know what? We need to do something for Brian. I mean, so many people already have, right? And we just haven't, right? And we just had it on. I ran into Brian out at Digital Dealer, man, and it just pulled on my heart. And I'm a pretty selfish cat normally, but it got me, dog. It really did. I was like, you know what, this dude, he found his love of his life, right? And that's a rarity. And I was like, man, we gotta step up. We gotta do something. So we dedicated, like, any products bought from us, we would donate 100% of that to CarStrong. Anybody that hooked up on Buscador de Auto, their first month would go directly to CarStrong. Now, it's month to month, so they could just sign up, donate the money, and cancel. We really didn't give a shit. It's all about trying to help Brian and Tamara and really do something amazing for them. Like, Subi hit it really well, in the midst of making all of us cry. And that is, it's all about people, right? We talk a lot about the business thing, said it too, but it's about the people. So I'm so excited. Some people stepped up really big, but I also want other people that are on the show to know, look, you don't have to step up and if you don't have $500 or $100, that's okay. Yeah. If you have $1, just give $1. Do something. You can do something. Look, if 20,000 people gave $1, they'd have what they need. It's amazing what can be done, I'm just saying. So, but what amazes me the most is in this industry, we show up to parties, everybody's wearing a Rolex, everybody's, pushing a fucking Beamer or Benz, so sorry, keep forgetting. Everybody's pushing bad rides, wearing sick watches, wearing $1,200 shoes. But I see those names and I see how they ball out, but I don't see their names donating shit. So here's the thing. To all my friends out there that I know just go hard, right? You don't mind spending $10,000 to host a party. You don't mind spending $50,000 to host a party. You don't mind throwing down and picking up the tab for $1,500, $2,000, while we all have a good time. Let me ask you to do this. Don't pick up the tab at DSCS. Just skip out and pick up one tab and throw that money here right now. Just do it. Just do it. And a lot of people go, well, I want to be anonymous. I feel that, and I think that is a beautiful thing. But here's the deal. When other people in the industry see your name and see that you step up, it's going to inspire them to step up. Because they're going to go, they're going to see Auto Dealer Live, and then this guy stepped up and threw down a grand. Well, I should step up too. So please, donate. Don't hide that you're donating. It's not so you can get recognition. No. You know what it is? It's because our industry, we like to one up each other. We like to step up. When we see our boys step up, we like to step up a little bigger. So put your name on there proud, throw down, make that donation, skip picking up the next tab, the next round. Look, we can all, we can all drink together a different day. But take what you're doing, donate that money to Brian, to Tamara, and let's step up. Come on.
This is one of those times where, you know what, man, I think all of us will be proud with anybody one-upping us, because every time someone one-ups somebody in this, man, I talked to Brian, and obviously you know a lot about it, but I mean, this is a life, man. I mean, it's literally like life and death in the balance here. I mean, my God, what wouldn't you do for one of your kids? Yeah.
Dude, as a wife, as a mom, that's amazing. And you know what? Speaking of stepping up, Arnold reminded me of this, and I can't let it go by. At Driving Sales Executive Summit, see, we need to get it right, because my boy Clint Burns, my illegitimate son Clint with the same hair, he's stepping up, and I know they're donating. And the next step is going to donate $1 for every single tweet that has these two hashtags in it during Driving Sales. The hashtag DSES and the hashtag the next up, THENEXTUP. They got to be together in the tweet. Hashtag DSES, hashtag the next up. So make sure every time you tweet something at Driving Sales, put those two together. I love Clint. Clint, I want to spend you silly, brother, because I love you. So make sure you guys do that. And you're right, Dave. I mean, this is the one time we'll be happy when we get one up. Now, if you try to go to the URL, j.mp/Carstrong, it forwards you directly to the GoFundMe. Whether you go through the link we set up or directly to the GoFundMe, right now the GoFundMe is not loading. I hope it's because all of you are trying hard. So do this. Set yourself a reminder for 2 hours from now.
Absolutely.
And don't forget to do it. Just go back. It'll uncrash. They'll fix it. Please go back and give.
Absolutely. Matt, thank you, man, for everything you did today, from this morning on Periscope, everything you did all day long. And you basically put your business on hold to make this a priority. So you put your money squarely where your mouth is, brother. And so thanks for the inspiration, man.
No, thank you guys for doing that on the show and really bringing this to everybody's attention, because it's much needed. And I'm going to call out every other business owner, all you guys, like, we're a startup, right? We're only a couple years into this stuff. But there's plenty of you that are so far past the startup phase. Get up off your booty, get up off your wallet, and throw some cash to them. Don't be a little bitch.
Absolutely. Thank you, man. I think that's Matt Koenig.
Love you guys.
Love you, man.
Thank you, Matt.
Matt Koenig.
He was the next up.
He was the next up, the next up, and the next up. Hey, Mike, make sure that link is up. Also, after the show's over here in just a couple of seconds, it will immediately, I think within a couple of minutes, be archived on autodealerlive.net. And then we will have that link up as well for the replay. And if you want somehow to share the story, you could share Auto Dealer Live's link in the show. Again, let somebody watch it, let them hear for themselves, because I'm gonna assume that GoFundMe is gonna stay up, and your money will be good tomorrow as well. So I mean, anytime. I mean, really, honestly, this is a life or death situation, and also, man, you know what? Don't underestimate the power of prayer. Pray for all these people, for Brian and his wife. I mean, man, that's a big deal, and I can't imagine. I mean, honestly, we come to work, we do things, and we've all shared stories. But, man, can you imagine, having to come to work with the weight of knowing that this is something that's not resolved and solved, and you have this looming over you? I mean, it's got to be hard and heavy. And, my heart goes out for him. And the fact that he's in a good mood, man, he's great. He has a phenomenal attitude. And he's trying to inspire other people.
Yeah, that's what was amazing.
And the hours in the car business. I'm not trying to make you feel sorry for him. I'm just saying, man, this guy is representing thousands of other people that we can't see. So be on the blacktop was a huge, huge plus in my book. I'd love to do it at least once a quarter. So we need stories. Yeah. We need stories. Mike, how do they email stories in? What's the best email address for Auto Dealer Live?
The best one is actually mine, which is mcherup, mcherup@ipdmail.com. I read them day and night.
M is in Mike Cherup. C is in cat, H is in Harry, E is in elephant, R is in Ralph, U as in Utopia, P is in Paul.
Pizza.
mcherup@ipdmail.com. Mike, the producer here, he'll get your emails. Email stories. We want to do this again. Awesome.
I got to tell you guys, from my standpoint, I've been producing the show, I think, almost a year and a half now, and this has been the best show we've ever done, in my opinion.
It's about people, isn't it?
Yeah. I had no idea how I'd walk away from today's show. I thought, man, this might be depressing, whatever the case may be, but I'm really encouraged by what car people are doing and the resolve and the attitudes that some of these individuals have that have gone through these struggles and are continuing to go through these struggles. And then all of you, all of the viewers, listeners, supporters in the car industry that have embraced these individuals and helped them out. It's amazing.
Awesome. Mike the Car Guy, too, over in California said, no rush, Auto Dealer Live. Koenig's meeting is with me, and I can wait because the segment is worth waiting for.
Woo,
He's
come on
doing
now.
something awesome.
Come on, Mike.
So what's up, Mike the Car Guy? I thought I saw a tweet, too, go through that said Mike was crying, too. As big as Mike is, man, Mike the Car Guy, he cried?
He was the next up to cry, yeah.
He was the next up to
He
cry.
was the next up to
Thank
cry.
you, Clint Burns. Thank you, the next up. And thank you guys for listening. We'll see you guys next week.
For the next up.
The next up.